in having the connection, in believing in our own potential to be just as horrific. It's how we avoid it. It's how we choose otherwise. We're all in this together. And throughout time, human beings have had experiences, have been enlightened by the source in however they felt they needed to describe that. We're not less inspired today than the ancient peoples were that we call prophets in the old writings. Their writings are still meaningful to us today, but men have a tendency to color those things when they get reinterpreted, they get written down, they get modified, as you shared with us earlier. Your talk did tie in very nicely, by the way. We're all surprised, right? All right. Any other comments about that? Anything anyone wants to share?
Sometimes I feel like a housekeeper with all that dust.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I have a friend that now lives in California. And this is a little something that she wrote in on the 5th of July, 2010. She called it Interdependence Day. Settling down to settle in with all my new friends and sensations and appreciations. I have a new vantage point every day from which to see the world as whole and complete and soul rich. There is a nugget of gold in every handful of dirt I pick up, in every experience I have. Take what you need and leave the rest is not only a 12-step adage at the end of a meeting, it is a new world economy at the beginning of an era. And the way I try to live each day. I am so grateful to have my internal gyroscopic guide navigating me into golden opportunities and friendships. In each new experience, in each new day. I really appreciate the way she sees the world. And it's something to encourage me to be aware of my energy in every moment. Because whether I approach each new thing in gratitude, changes everything. Every experience is not pleasant, but our reaction to it makes all the difference. And these are just good reminders for me, and I share them with you today, that the world gets ever more complex and our challenges get bigger and bigger. The latest new thing is, AI, artificial intelligence, all of the bugaboos about how it can distract us, lead us astray, confuse us, make us believe something that's not true. That's not new. They just put a supercharger on that. And it's something that we've been learning to deal with. Being in tune with the energy is what I see ever more clearly as is where we have to be, where we need to be if we're going to navigate through these things. Something that looks good, sounds good, seem to be able to verify that is still either false or just leading us in a not good direction is revealed by the energy of it, if we're in tune with that. And if not by the energy of it, by the energy of our reaction, or the reaction that it is intending to encourage us to have. It's probably too simplistic to just talk about it fear-based and love-based, but that basically those are the two directions that things will go. And as we talked about previously, and when I shared what Dr. Chopra had to say, is it good for me? And is it good for everyone around me? How does this affect things? And we have to remain connected to that mechanism for navigating our way through life and its daily happenings, because it's so easy to join in the fear and join in the direction that takes us. And if that's not the kind of world you want to live in, then our individual world needs to be a bubble of peace, a bubble of love, a bubble of affirming life and life affirming decisions and actions. I find encouragement for this going to the supermarket. Supermarket experience can be extraordinary. There's a lot of strangers there. And the way strangers react to you when you're in a really good place is, my wife always comments on that. People come up and start talking to me and like we're long lost, buddies or something. And or just smile back and they're just pleasant, or we exchange pleasantries as we come across each other in the aisles again. And it's my observation that that's directly proportional to where I am in my own being, whether I'm having a bad day or a good day. But the good days, you get good reactions. And when if you're being depressed, you're not going to have people coming up smiling and exchanging pleasantries with you. It just kind of does not happen. And that's the thing we contribute.
Kids are real responsive to that.
What's that?
Kids are real responsive
Yes,
I mean, you'll see them, they don't even know you, but they'll be looking at you or smiling at you or
yes,
seriously.
yeah,
I've noticed that.
and animals too.
Mhm.
Frequently get that reaction from animals. Comments? Anyone, please contribute something, add something?
I'll just share a little something that happened when I was on my little road trip with my sisters. We were, had taken some things down to West Virginia for my best sister's daughter, my niece. And we had a late birthday celebration, but she was, working, so her son had a softball practice for his middle school. And so we went down there to watch a bit of it. And in the dugout, of course, they're playing against each other, but in the dugout, I thought I saw someone about the size of maybe a 10, 11, or 12-year-old boy. And he's just enjoying watching it. Oh, he must be some kind of team mascot, or he's there like a little team manager or something. I pretty much just saw the back of him. He was just kind of. But then he turned around, saw me, and came running over, smiled, gave me a big hug, and I gave him a big hug back. And it turns out he's like in his 60s, and he's nonverbal. Probably one of those many challenged people, but he's been the little team mascot since my niece's husband was playing baseball for middle school. So he's in his 60s. And, you know, my sister's like, wow, he really zeroed in on you. And I just accepted it at the moment. And he was jibber jabbering and pointing something in his little notebook. It was just a series of scratches, like a little grid mark. He's trying to get it to come up, you know, behind the cage and watch, but you know, he said, no, thank you. I'll just stay back here. But I like to think that was like his soul must have recognized my soul.
Mhm.
And that just meant so much to me.
Yeah,
Just that brief little moment.
yeah, that's what I call an energy connection, you know. I think, you know, we see it, whether it's an auric field or some sort of energy that is very revealing about us. And and I feel like that is happening commonly to people, don't consciously recognize it, but I feel like everyone is communicating on that level more and more, and that you don't have to understand it, you don't have to know about it. It's just something that's happening unseen, that we recognize each other's energy fields. And it's a very subtle thing, but if you pay attention to it, it can lead you well about, you know, what to avoid, and etc. Reverend Philip?
Yes.
That's a good answer. What's the question?
Just giving someone a smile makes a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing how it comes across that,
Well, I'd like to say, you know, try to give your smiles away.
yeah,
Try to give 100 smiles away. Every one you get back, you,
but it does make a difference. It
And
really
you-
does. It's just
you-
a simple gesture.
yeah.
Now, one of the things I'm finding as I'm still reading spiritualist books and such. And one of the things that I'm finding is that, you know, the worst thing that we do is we separate ourselves from those souls. Because when we read about what these souls are teaching and what they're encouraging us to do, such as with Paul Selig's book, what they are encouraging us to do is to do away with that separation. Change our thinking to the point that it's not them in the soul realm and us in the physical realm, but it is the realm. And that what they do, how they do it, we can do the same here if we can move through that limitation. And that's in Kurtak's Book of Knowledge, which we were reviewing a while ago. When we get at the end of it, it says that we limit ourselves by our own limitations. So and our limitations is the way we think. And what's wrong with the way we think? There's nothing wrong with the way I think. Absolutely nothing, because it's the way I think. But if I can tweak that the way I think, then the experience, not the world, the experience becomes something different. And you have to keep in mind that whatever resonant field is stronger, it's going to draw the weaker fields that are similar to it towards it. Just like that person ran to you and gave you a big hug. They're attracted to it. Those resonant fields, they can't resist it. They have no choice but to be drawn. And I'll be quiet.
That's good stuff. Thank you. Sandy, anything to contribute or ask or?
Well, when you were talking about the supermarket, I have a friend who is just so cute in the supermarket because she just engages with everyone. And she always seems to find this connection and has these conversations, short, long, whatever. But it's just such a, she's a pretty fundamentalist kind of person. So I'm sure she feels it comes from a certain place, which is good. We probably look at it as a different place, but it's really the same place. But all I'm saying is, she just has a way of just connecting with total strangers. We'll be in line, checking out, and she's talking to the person behind her or the person in front if it's a long line. And it's just one of the things I really love about her. And when I think of her, that's always when I think of what do I love about Pat, that is her willingness and her ease of engaging people. And she's just so good at that. And I'm sure on some level, she's feeling that connection too. And the people are feeling it because she's openly, lovingly putting it out there. So it's just, just so made me think of her when you were talking about that. And you do, like, I mean, even myself, I might be standing in a store in a line and someone just speaks to you, and all of a sudden you're engaging in a conversation and you're agreeing about something, or you on the same page about something, and it's not just necessarily by chance. And then what's nice is that later you go home, or you're the few days later, and that conversation might come to mind, and it feels nice. It's just a nice memory, even though it could have been just a minute, but it is nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That reminds me that I think the way that we choose to be is can be in spite of the organization in which we're part of.
Mm-hmm.
Not always because of. And so you find people that are acting in a very, what we might term a spiritual way, And, coming from a fundamentalist belief system,
Mhm.
and, no one has the corner on that, market of being a good person or a bad person, because you're gonna find them everywhere. And there's a tendency to attribute the good things to whatever your belief system is that you're locked into or choose to be locked into. But it really is your personal choice to act in a particular way. And the potential is there regardless of which way you choose to engage, and a belief system that you choose to adopt has the potential for you to be short-sighted or loving and more caring, giving person. We've all probably encountered stories of people that had some bad experience at a particular church, and so rejected that religion because of the way individuals reacted, acted out in that group. And, they do not reflect the whole group. In every group, you're going to have good and bad eggs. So, again, it's recognizing that it's us.
Right.
It's, we can't separate into them. And
Right.
that works on the most basic level as well as on the highest levels at which we can approach this. That in the very real sense, we are one, and we are connected and interconnected. And as we navigate this experience of individualism, that's the great awakening, is to discover our commonalities and our connection, and that our highest inspiration is coming from a higher aspect of our own self. And that can be a hard pill to swallow, that I can't possibly be that, so it must be something else or some other entity, some greater, has to be an angel or a master of some sort giving this information, rather than just connecting into our higher aspect that we all have the potential for. So I'm going to leave it there with my love and blessings, and I thank you all for your kind attention.
Bless and thank you, Reverend Thomas. And that's a lot of what the souls are bringing through, is that we're all the same, and yet not. So thank you again, and thank all of you for your participation.